Hello, my name is Larry Liu, and today we're have two guests to uh, talk about the experience at MSU, Morgan State University, in the sociology graduate program. So we have Dr. Malcolm Drewery and Dr. Simone Durham. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your area of interest and uh, research. We'll start maybe with Dr. Drury.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Dr. Liu, for hosting this discussion. My name is Malcolm Drury, and I am currently an associate professor in sociology and anthropology here at Morgan State University. This is my first year at Morgan State University. My areas of interest are race, gender, and social justice with and social stratification. Um, my areas of research, um, focus in the areas of gentrification, communities, Black communities in particular, and I also have a research interest in sociology of sport. And so I'm looking at a couple of different, um, or have some a couple of different interests on my research agenda as far as sports go, sociology of sport. Um, and I guess we can talk about that later.
That's for sure. And Dr. Durham.
So I'm actually not a doctor yet. So I'm
Hiring doctor.
still working on that PhD coming soon. But my name is Simone Durham, Professor Durham. This is my first full-time year in the department, but I've been teaching classes for our department since 2016 when I finished my master's in our program, actually. I study race, social psychology, and social movements. So I have a few different kind of like pockets of interest. In terms of my actual research, that has largely focused on the Black Lives Matter movement throughout my doctoral program. My dissertation is looking at Black millennial perspectives and experiences with the movement. And I'll probably continue that for a little while, but in the future, I'm interested in looking at Black mental health and wellness and things like that.
Okay, that's great. So we move on to the next question, talking more specifically about the Morgan State graduate program itself. What does the MSU Sociology Department and Anthropology Department offer to the graduate students? It can be either one of you addressing it.
I'll go first. I think the this being a new program, I think that we can offer a lot to graduate students or new graduate students, and it's a good opportunity because I think a lot of the professors, from my vantage point, have a different specializations. But we do cross over in some of the same issues, whether it be, um, social justice issues or, Black gender or race gender issues that we can combine with different graduate students and put together a program that some of the students could be interested in. So I think that's what we offer, for this program.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think that our program offers options. I think number one, it's very accessible for working professionals, which most full-time PhD programs really are not. They're expecting that you are a full-time student and not a full-time worker. So I think that's a big advantage of our program. I agree with just the diversity and perspectives and concentration. So there's a lot of different knowledge that you can get from our group of faculty. And I think piggybacking off the social justice comment, that's a main, pillar of our PhD program, is that it's applied sociology and social justice, which is very different than many programs. So I think that that really offers something special for graduate students.
Yeah, so, and especially the social justice angle, as Professor Durham mentions, is of particular interest, and also mentoring is the graduate students is also very important. So what would be your approach or your experience regarding the mentoring of graduate students and bringing them onto uh, your own like research projects or helping them along their trajectory of research?
So I haven't, because I'm obviously still finishing my own, mentored many graduate students, although I have had an opportunity to serve as a mentor for like newer students in my own department. And since I'm faculty here, I do have a TA, and so I'm kind of a mentor for her. But I think my overall approach would be to help students balance their academic endeavors or aspirations, work, etc., with reality in their lives and being a person. That's something that I feel like was or has been hard for me, and mentoring in that area has been really helpful. But in terms of actual like academic work, I think that my approach to mentoring and collaborating with students would be to see them largely as colleagues who just probably need a little bit of help, a little bit of socialization, a little bit of information, and really listening to what students need, because all students are different, and trying to provide that as best as I can, or pointing them in the direction of someone that I think may be better suited for their needs or their interests than I am, depending on, what those needs are.
Dr. Drury?
I think my approach is meeting the students where they are, making sure that they, grasp on to something that, has meaning in their life. And I think that's important when mentoring students and trying to figure out like um, what kind of help or assistance that they may need as they progress through graduate school. I think it's really important, and I tell students, especially graduate students, this all the time: is don't waste any papers. You know, even within your classes, try to um, try to write something along the lines of what you want to research, what you want to study. Um, so if you're writing a paper and it you're focusing on it's in a theory class or as a theoretical framework, try to figure out like what theoretical framework would fit into some research that you're interested in. How can you use that as a part of your I might maybe talking about Durkheim, I may be talking about Marx, I may be talking about Du Bois, but how can I fit this into, the research that I want to do and what I'm interested in? And so I try to guide the students in that direction because you don't want to waste anything that you do in graduate school. Um, the books that you collect, the books that I collected during graduate school, I still use those now, refer back to them now. Um, and I try to share those with the students and, try to make sure they add that to their collection of books, because those are the books that they will keep as they, matriculate through school and as they finish up also. So little things like that. And those little things I think are important at the end of it. But the big part is don't waste anything that you do in graduate school. Make it apply to, what you eventually want to study, whether it's your thesis or dissertation. It can be applied to either one of those, you know, big, big papers.
Yeah, and actually that cuts very well with the last point I want to bring up for today, which is very specific advice that you might have for potential graduate students, and basically what would be the things that would help them to succeed in the program and beyond.
Um, that perseverance piece is really big, for our graduate students. And since a lot of our students are working adults and not just full-time graduate students, time management is a very important, discussing time management, but also making sure you have your priorities set to, if this is something that you want to accomplish and something that is your goal, like make sure you commit to finishing that goal. Don't let, you know, things that may, it's not for the average person. Finishing a PhD is not for the average person. You have to, go that extra mile sometimes in order to fulfill that goal. And if it is a goal, you don't let anything stop you. So, no excuses. um, we all have family lives and jobs and different things like that, but we still have to make, this a priority also.
Be hungry, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with the priorities piece, especially. And I think one priority that I learned the hard way that you really cannot neglect is yourself and your well-being in the process. It's easy to get swept up in the amount of work that it takes to complete your classes and your papers and the program in general. But along the way, if you don't make space for your health, your happiness, and not neglecting the work in favor of those things, but finding a good balance. If you let yourself fall to the wayside, eventually you're going to burn out, and then you're going to be stuck, and then you're really going to struggle to complete those tasks and finish up. And I definitely have gone through that. And particularly if you're facing personal circumstances that are hard, I've experienced a lot of death and grief in my time in my program, and there's been some pretty rough moments. So all in all, I think the biggest advice I would give is that you need to have priorities straight, and that you yourself should also be a priority, because if you don't take care of yourself, you won't be able to finish no matter how much you prioritize finishing, because you just won't have the capacity.
Yeah, these are very useful pieces of advice, and I recently came out of a graduate program myself. So, if I had received some of these instructions, I think that would have uh, benefited me tremendously. So, anyways, thank you very much, Professor Durham and Dr. Drewery, for joining me today, and we hope that the applicants will learn something from this discussion.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Thank you.